Hello, this is Daniel from Trusted Tutorials. Today we're gonna have a look at how to use the VLOOKUP function in Google Sheets. So the VLOOKUP function uses a search key in the beginning. So this is what you're looking for. It could be a name, it could be anything that you're looking for in a Sheets document. Then the second parameter is the range. So this is the range where Google Sheets should have a look to find the search key. Then the third parameter, this is really important, is the index. So the index is what it should return. So we could be looking for an email address and we want to get the last name as an example. So where the last name is should be the index. So the index always starts at 1 in the range. So if it's the third column as an example, the index would be 3. And then the last parameter is sorted. So this is either true or false. In most cases, you can put false there because it should only be true if you have a sorted list in ascending order. So that would be if you have it numbered from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Then it would be sorted. But in most cases, you just add false and everything is fine. So in this tutorial, I'm going to have a look at really handy use cases using the VLOOKUP in Google Sheets. Let's now get into a Google Sheets document and we're gonna do all the different ways to use VLOOKUP together. So I prepared this document here. You see a lot of data in it and I'm gonna show you the 5 different things that you can see here. We're first going to start with just a general VLOOKUP formula to just warm up, let's say. All right, the first thing when you add a formula is always that you use the equal sign. Then you write VLOOKUP in capitals. You can also click on it because it already suggests you VLOOKUP. Then as said, the first thing we need is the search key. So let's say we're looking for the last name rootnet that we have here. I click on it. This is going to be our search key. And then I make a comma and I add the second parameter. This is the range here. And it needs to be mentioned that the range should always start where your search parameter is. Since here rootnet is in column C, so this should be the start of the range. So I just mark C and D, and as you can see, this is now our range. I make another comma, and now we can enter the third parameter. So let's say we want to get the phone number of Edgar Rootnet. And as you can see, the phone number is in the second column. So the index is 2 because it always starts from 1. So I select 2 here. So do another comma. And now we just need to add is sorted true or false. It's not sorted. It's not in ascending order. So we just write false. We close the brackets and now I put enter. And as you can see, perfect. I now get the phone number of Rootnet. So this worked quite well. But let's have a look at the next example here. We can also use a question mark, and the question mark helps us in case we don't know certain characters. So maybe we have, let's assume here we have part of an email address. We can have look at this email address, but we don't know what is in the beginning of this email address. Can we still use the VLOOKUP function? Yes, we can. Because for this purpose, we have the question mark. So let's build the VLOOKUP function for this use case together. So we start again with VLOOKUP. Then we open up the bracket and now we are looking for, this is our search key here. But in the beginning, as I mentioned, there are certain characters that I don't know. So what we can do is instead of starting with this, we're just gonna add in the the question mark. So for this, I would just use quotation marks, then the question mark symbol. Where is it? Here. So close the quotation marks, and I also need to add the @ symbol, so everything is combined together. And now I can click on the search term, because this is the part of the email address. So as mentioned, we have part of an email address, and in the beginning we have a question mark because we don't know what is there. I add a comma, and now again, as you know, we add the range. So now the range has to start here because we're looking for an email address, and we could take, like, I don't know, A to D as an example. And then we need to select the index again. So we want to have the email address, so we need to choose index 1. And then, is it sorted? No, we write false and we close it, and let's push enter and see what happens. Perfect. Look, as you can see, we now got the full email address, although we didn't know all of it using the question mark symbol. All right, perfect. That's already the second example. Let's have a look at the third example. Sometimes you know the beginning of a word or a string, but you don't know how it ends. There's also a function for that in Google Sheets, and it is the asterisk symbol. So let's build an example with the asterisk symbol. It's not asterisk, it's asterisk. I can hardly say it. So anyways, let's start with VLOOKUP again, and then I open up. So we are looking, let's say we know the first part of a name but not the second part of the name. So we choose this as the search key, and then we need to add the asterisk. So we would do this with the @ symbol again, and then we open the quotation marks and we add the asterisk and we close the quotation marks. Then we do a comma. And now we choose the range again, so the range could be B and C, let's say B and C, and the index, let's say we want to get the last name where we have Ed, like a first name starting with Ed. So here, therefore the index would be 2 because it's column C. Let's write 2. And then we write false again, as is almost always the case. We close the brackets and we push enter. Perfect. As you can see, we now get rootnet because this is the last name of Edgar. We only knew Ed, and we didn't know how this name ends. That's why we use the asterisk symbol. So that worked also really, really well. But what is if the data you use is in a different sheet? Can you still use the VLOOKUP function? Yes, you got it right. Of course you can. I'm going to show you this as well. So it's quite easy. We start with VLOOKUP, and then we go on a different sheet. Let's first define what we want to look for. Let's say we're going to look for rootnet again. And then we need to add the range, and now the range is in a different sheet. So just go onto the different sheet here, and let's see, we have rootnet here, and we could select a range from D to F. We always have to start where the search key is. So let's say we're looking for the address. I now selected this range, and as you can see, it continues the formula here, so we can just build it here on this sheet. So the index is 3 in this case, because we said we want to get the street address of rootnet. So I'm entering 3. I write false again. I close the brackets and I push enter, and I will get back to the previous sheet. And as you see, PO Box 55649. This is the address of rootnet. Perfect, that also worked. And now let's have a look at the last case, because you can also use VLOOKUP if you have the data in a completely different workbook, so basically in a different file. Let's build the VLOOKUP function for this use case. So we start with VLOOKUP. For this we can use the import range function within VLOOKUP. So the next thing we do is we write, almost forgot. First we select what we're looking for. Let's say we're looking for rootnet again. So I just click on it. Then as the second parameter, as you know, this is the range. We just write import range. And then I open up the bracket, and I select the quotation marks, because now we're gonna add a whole address, and this is going to be the URL, the address of the different sheet here. So this is the second sheet I prepared. We're just gonna go and grab this here. You could also use just the GID. So the last part here, that would also work, but we're gonna copy all of it. So let me get back and paste that in here. So we need to close the quotation marks, and then it needs a second argument, because we also need to select the range, and we also need to say which tab actually we want to look into. So let's go back to this document. So the data is in the data tab. So the first thing we can do is we just open up the quotation marks and we write data in capitals, because it's no, we don't even need to write data in capitals because it is not capital here. We just write data, and then you need an exclamation mark, and after that now you can add the range. So we said we're gonna look for rootnet. Rootnet is here, so this is where the range starts, and we want to see in what state rootnet is living. So we select the range D to I. All right, just going to remember that data, and then we add D to I, and we need to close the quotation marks here. So just let me see if everything is right, and then we just close the brackets here. So this was like our second parameter, and now we need to add the third argument, which is the index. So let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's index 6 should give us the state. I just add 6 here. And then the last argument is false, as always. Just close the brackets and let's hit enter. And as you can see, it is loading and it gives us Wyoming. And if we have a look, is it correct? Rootnet, Wyoming, perfect. Important here to mention is that if you do this the first time, because it's a completely different sheet, you need to allow the connection of these two sheets. So it will ask you here and you need to give permission. You can just click OK, and then it will start to load and add the data here. Perfect. So we're already at the end of the VLOOKUP in Google Sheets tutorial. I really hope you liked it. Please give the video a like if that is the case, and also follow our channel and hit the notification bell so you're always informed when new helpful tutorials come out. This was Daniel from Trusted Tutorials. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again soon. Bye bye.